would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's after hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information. Lilliput at Coon Rapids dares you to take part in their Haunted Mansion escape room. 100 years ago, a family suffered a tragic incident. Your team is brought in to find out what happened that night, find proof of the supernatural, and help the spirits find peace. Are you up for the task? This incredible escape room is filling up fast, so book now. Also, a perfect outing for work team building. Go to lilliput.net now to book your experience today.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 14, then Tuesday, sunshine with a high of 28. Nightingale is your cozy, comfortable neighborhood bar and restaurant at 26th and Lyndale in Minneapolis. Come in for the famous Nightingale burger or the ginger tamari chicken wings. View their menu or place a takeout order at nightingalempls.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining us. Everyone, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving weekend. I had probably the most relaxing, the most enjoyable weekend I've had, probably, to be very honest, in years. And I don't know what it was. There was some sort of a switch suddenly that kind of came on. And I just kind of learned for once in a very long time just to enjoy life or something. I don't know what it was, but it was a lot of fun this weekend, and did some good cooking. I made quesadillas tonight. I know everyone was very interested in knowing that, says no one ever. And I just think that it's just, I don't know, maybe I'm for once in the festive spirit, and that would be very, very rare. So I'll take it. I'll enjoy it when I can. But as you all know, I'm no car mechanic, and I had a strange thing happen. I went over to the station for a little bit, and we just had some snow. It's a little bit colder than usual, but not Minnesota cold. It's not like below zero or anything. And I get out of the truck. I have two vehicles. One is a 2004 beat up for winter, and that's what I drove in. And I get into the station, and I had to go leave the station to do something else. And I get in, and I see that my gear is in drive on my truck. Like, what on earth? And I'm moving the gear shift, and it stays in drive, but clearly it's like, okay, now I'm in reverse. Now I'm in, and like I said, I'm not a mechanic, and I can't imagine that that's how trucks work. But then eventually it kind of figured itself out. So I don't know. Am I at the end of the rope with my 2004 truck? I mean, is that just like one of the early signs that we're done here? And after 20 years, and I only had it for about 8 years myself, does that mean that we are done with everything? I don't know. I'll keep you updated on the saga of my truck, because I kind of think to myself, only I can have a truck that I can switch gears, but it actually stays in drive. At least it looked that way anyway. We're going to have a fun show tonight, because I have two people with me. One that's been on our program a number of times. The other brand new, but I certainly know of this person's work and have been following them for a long time. But we're going to be talking tonight about a new book that's going to be actually published at the beginning of 2025, at the beginning of January. It's called The Haunting of Emery Estate. and it conveys a chilling investigation with a twist. And this is going to be very interesting, folks. And I have with me, it's authored by two people. The first is Rob Gutro, who we know Rob. Rob has been on the program many times. Rob is a medium, pet medium, and paranormal investigator. He has encountered ghosts everywhere he's traveled. He has crossed many ghosts over and is known for sketching them. Haunting of Emery Estate is Gutro's 12th true paranormal book. He has 3 series of best-selling books. One is award-winning Pets in the Afterlife series, which teaches how pets communicate with the other side. Another series, Ghosts on a Medium's Vacation, combines history and hauntings of Gutro's encountered in England, Ireland, and the Birdcage Theater in Arizona. We've spoken with him about that. His 3rd series is Ghosts and Spirits, about ghosts on paranormal investigations and spirits he's met. He is the first in the paranormal field to make the distinction between earthbound ghosts and spirits who have crossed over. And I am also very happy to bring on tonight Monique Toosoon. Monique is a captivating force in the world of drag and paranormal exploration, with a career spanning 2 decades and named New Hampshire's Ghostess with the Mostess. She was crowned Best Local Entertainer for 4 years. Monique's ascent knows no bounds, from sold-out extravaganzas across New England to riveting appearances on esteemed paranormal showcases like Dark Echoes, Paranormal Shows, and Ghost Finders. Monique has also graced the grand finale of Ghost Finders in the fall of 2024. She is also the host of a YouTube and podcast program, Ghosts and Glitter, and the host of Scared Too Soon Tours. Monique and Rob, welcome to GhostBox Radio.
Hi. Thank you, Greg.
Well, it's very nice. First of all, Rob, it's always good to see you, and I hope everything is well with you. Monique, like I said prior to the program, we've been whatever this means, friends on Facebook for a great period of time, and just been really enjoying seeing what you've been doing and where you've been going with your career on both in drag as well as your paranormal career. And you must be pretty happy with yourself, if you don't mind me saying so. I mean, you have a lot of good things going on.
Yeah, it's taken a lot of hard work, and I feel like I'm fighting a lot harder than some people for it. But over the past couple of years, I've really seen things grown. And if you don't already know, I don't think there's a lot of ghost hunting drag queens in the world. I think I'm one of the only ones. I have not been able to find any. So it's kind of unique to have that. And I'm based in New England, so I do events up here primarily. And as of right now, they're pretty much all selling out. And there's quite a huge appeal to it. I've gotten noticed by some big names. I've done some filming work with Amazon and with the Ghost Finders, which hasn't aired yet, but I keep getting told it's coming soon.
That's good.
Yeah, just kind of having fun. And then I got to do this book with Rob here, who has 4,000 accomplishments right before my biography, 400 books. I'm like, that's amazing. And I get to be part of one of those.
Well, and I think the best part about Rob's 400 books is that he's been on this show every single time he's put out a new one. So most of my GhostBox Radio back catalog, about 3/4 are just Rob Gutro episodes. So, that's the best part about that. So, okay, let's start here. First of all, I'll get one more question here, because Chuck in the comments, and I'm not quite sure what this means, because I don't know. In my mind, it seems pretty self-explanatory, but I know you're always open to questions and clarification and stuff, Monique. Paranormal drag, I need more explanation, please.
So I started doing this during COVID because I lost bars, and I was trying to take my drag somewhere else. It was kind of getting bored just not being able to do shows because bars were all closed at that point.
Sure.
So I decided to go ghost hunting and drag just for, craps and giggles. And I ended up getting a really cool EVP that first night that said, "He's a lady." And yeah, and I kind of got hooked from that moment on, and I was like, I've got to keep doing this and see what happens. And it's turned me into the craziest trigger object in the world because the ghosts don't know what to do with me.
I was going to ask, and I was trying to find a nice way of do they know what to make of you? And I don't, and I'm trying to be not stupid sounding when I say it. So I mean, that's incredible. So what does happen in those investigations, in those situations? I mean, do you get spirits that get it, or they get spirits that are hitting on you, not quite realizing what's going on here? What's happening here?
I guess it depends on the location. The castle, there's a Colonel Wilson at Wilson Castle is one of the spirits that hits on me and will actually tell me what color clothing to wear for him the next time I come. But then you go places like I just did a tarot store investigation and I got pushed over by something negative. It didn't like me at all. And it kept calling me a demon and Satan and all these crazy things all night. So it kind of depends where you go. They usually don't know what to do with me, but drag is also the highest form of energy. And that energy feeds that location. So everything is usually more amplified. There was one place I went and we were led to a room and it was Sweet Springs Sanitarium. And we were led to this room and we found out that it was a men's corridor and there was really large women's clothes in this room. And I think we were kind of led there because it was an institutionalized cross-dresser. And I'm like, that's kind of a unique thing to happen.
Oh, yeah. That's great. First of all, for those who are watching on Facebook, let me just put this up. This is a cover to their book. So you can see Monique in drag. And, you look great, first of all. I can understand why you are so popular. And that is fantastic. This is a cover of their book, Haunting of Emery Estate. And how did this work out that you two decided to work together on this book?
Well, it started really back in 2023 when we met at the Massachusetts Paracon on Cape Cod.
Sure.
And Monique came up to me and told me that one of her dogs passed. And so she wanted a reading about one of her dogs. So I scheduled it. I still do these pet readings on the weekends. And when the reading came up earlier this year, I don't remember what month it was. Monique, do you remember?
I think I met you in September, and the reading ended up you ended up doing it around my birthday in June.
Yeah, so it was a crazy long time, and
yeah.
Again,
I don't mean to interrupt, but I was wondering if you're going to be fast tracked or not, because I know Rob has the backlog of 100 years to do. So because if you got fast tracked, I was going to be pissed because I'm like, hey, I want to know about my animals too, But anyway, I'm sorry. Continue with your story.
No, Monique waited until it was time, and
fair
then,
and square.
And I came on Ghost and Glitter first, I believe.
Yes, as a guest, and then you came on and did the pet reading on there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so then after the pet reading, she had me back. And we talked about paranormal investigations, and this paranormal investigation happened to be within 2 hours of where I live. I also live in northern New England, so this is perfect. I mean, we're basically within an hour of each other.
Right.
And this was in the state that I grew up in Massachusetts. So I said, yeah, I would love to go. And that's how it happened.
And so, okay. So, and I think I want to try to get more into the book in the second segment. But I want to ask, Monique, you said that this is your first book, right?
Yes, my first book ever. And it's all thanks to Rob.
How was that? How was that experience for you? Did you find that there was a lot more discipline than you thought, or was it pretty straightforward? Hey, this isn't bad at all.
So honestly, the book kind of came about because the investigation was so crazy, and for 6 hours we did not stop connecting to spirit, and it was just really intense that night. And this book is compiled notes, and it's a 6-hour experience put in a whole book. So I mean, writing the book, Rob did a lot of the note taking. So Rob, translated a lot of it, and we kind of co-wrote parts together, and I filled in places. But for my first book experience, it was absolutely outstanding. And I really love that I was brought in on this, and I'm forever grateful to be part of this because, it's already turning into a second thing. And yeah, I put that on Facebook a couple of days ago looking for stories, but yeah, we'll talk about that on another one.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's fantastic. I mean, do you find that doing it becomes addictive to you?
For me, that first one, yeah, I love that we were #1 on Amazon this past weekend for a couple of categories, and that's kind of a rush. It was really, really cool to have, my first book be #1 on Amazon.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. Then of course you have Rob, who that you call that a Thursday for Rob when he has
No.
Amazon. So that's incredible. So yeah, go ahead, Rob.
I do want to say that so during investigations, whenever I go on any investigations, I always carry a book with me, a journal, if you will, and so I'm always writing notes every single minute, really, and then I'm sketching them out. And within the book, you'll find sketches of several of the ghosts, how they appeared to me, and Monique and I really confirmed with each other, especially about the little boy. Because I could clearly see this little boy, the ghost of this little boy, reaching out to her, and that's a really big part of this whole thing. But so that's really how I write all of the books, is that I'm always taking copious notes, and
Right.
that becomes a foundation for any book that I do.
That's pretty incredible. Monique, do you hold any? Are you a medium?
So I don't like to say that. I don't tell people that. I can't do readings, none of that, but I'm sensitive to things. I find that I'm more sensitive when I'm around other sensitives, so I kind of battery off of them.
Yeah.
This event, it was one of my usual confrontations. I tend to be sensitive to children. So even at other places, it's children that come to me, and we kind of learned a little bit about why at this investigation. But it's just something weird about me. I don't know.
That's really cool, actually, that you're, and I find I really appreciate it when folks are, anyone could call themselves what they want, right? I mean, if you believe you're a medium, whatever. But I too have I believe I have gifts, but to be able to be like, oh, I'm a medium, that's to me, that is such a huge, level of respect for myself personally. I'm talking about, to say that would be a very difficult thing personally for me to say, I guess. I don't know if that's kind of in the same boat of what you're talking about or not.
Yeah, you don't like to give someone a preconceived notion and then they have an expectation of you.
Right.
So I kind of just go into everything and I don't really talk about it too much. And I do tell people that I'm sensitive to children, but for sure more stuff has happened than that.
Absolutely. And I also have learned, and for myself over the years, that the term mediumship can be applied and doesn't necessarily mean that you're giving anyone a reading, and that's those are our different growth. Like we're all in different paths of growths and stuff, and we get to where we need to get to when we need to get to, right? You know what I'd like to do, my friends? I would like to go ahead, take our first break. When we come back, I want to be able to get into the nitty-gritty of the book. Let's talk about what Emery Estate is. Really kind of set the background so people want to get a hold of this book, because it's pretty awesome. I have with me Monique Toosoon and Rob Gutro. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950.
Reach your highest level of consciousness and well-being with MetamorphosisConnections.com. MetamorphosisConnections.com is an online directory of the best holistic and metaphysical practitioners to help you make your most informed choices. You can search MetamorphosisConnections.com for classes, events, wellness and life coaches, plus metaphysical products and shops. You can also search for a wide array of healers from all modalities, including EFT, sound healing, energy healing, light therapy, ancestral healing, shamanic healing, reflexology, past life regressions, hypnotherapy, yoga, and more. And if you're not sure where to start, the search feature on MetamorphosisConnections.com is tailored to help both those who know what they are looking for and those who are just starting. Come explore the possibilities for your higher self by visiting MetamorphosisConnections.com. Their experienced practitioners can guide both beginners and those that are already on their spiritual journey. That's MetamorphosisConnection.com, your link to direct you on your spiritual transformation.
Lilliput in Coon Rapids dares you to take part in their Haunted Mansion escape room. 100 years ago, a family suffered a tragic incident. Your team is brought in to find out what happened that night, find proof of the supernatural, and help the spirits find peace. Are you up for the task? This incredible escape room is filling up fast, so book now. Also, a perfect outing for work team building. Go to lilliput.net now to book your experience today. Greg Bakun here. Like many of you, I still collect physical books, and not just any books, but books about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. I go to Megas Books and Herbs, located in the Arts District of Minneapolis, but books are only part of it. Megas Books and Herbs offers crystals, jewelry, herbs, oils, and consultations on how to use this stuff. Check out their in-store classes and events too. This place has everything to expand your horizons. Located at 1848 Central Avenue, Minneapolis, or visit megasbooks.com.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. Recently, I had a large order of custom designed t-shirts that needed to be turned around in a hurry. I knew exactly who to call. Grady Gear Company. Grady Gear Company is a local company that handles large and small custom clothing and apparel orders. I had a lot of questions from color, shirt quality, and what sizes we needed. Grady Gear Company was great to work with. They got us what we needed on time, and now everybody's looking great around the station in their new gear. Start your order at GradyGearCo.com.
Greg Bakun here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville. And as we are in the Christmas season, I would just like to ask and remind our listeners out there, you know, there's a lot of cool stuff out there that we put in our ads that we want people to go check out, to go buy, and you know, a lot of great books and a lot of great tarot decks and all sorts of stuff like that. Go to Megas Books. They're local. We always want you to ask that you support the local businesses. Megas Books has been around for a great deal of time. Their store is awesome. The people who work there are awesome. They know what they're talking about. And we just ask that everyone, please go check it out. And we just want to make sure that we have everyone going local this year, if at all possible. Speaking of which, going local also means helping out our guests that are on the show, because you know, it's I don't need to tell them how difficult it is for authors to make anything off of books. Most likely they're not going to. They're doing it out of the passion. And we are talking tonight with authors Monique Toosoon and Rob Gutro, and we are talking about Haunting of Emery Estate, and we just haven't really got into the book yet. We're about to talk about it a little bit more. And first of all, Monique, what is Emery Estate?
Rob's probably better to do the history talk.
We can do take two. Rob, what is Emery Estate?
Hey, okay, I'll take it. So Emery Estate is an estate that was purchased by the town of Weymouth in Massachusetts because of its architecture. It actually resembles Mount Vernon, George Washington's Mount Vernon in Virginia, and that's what it was built to resemble. So it's really very elegant looking. It's gaining some notoriety that it's haunted, but it's used primarily as a place. The grounds are tremendous, by the way, and the grounds offer a tremendous view of the Boston skyline. One thing that I wanted to say, though, is we had to work with the town of Weymouth, and we're very grateful for them. But the town of Weymouth wanted to make sure that we let people know that they didn't authorize the contents of the book and the statements and the opinions expressed in the book are truly ours, and they are, because this was our investigation. So
yep, seems fair enough. Doesn't seem too unusual, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. So the house was built in 1903 by someone named William Binion, and in 1916 it was sold to the Emery family, and they were really big into the wool trade. So that would explain all the land around it, because obviously it was filled with sheep. So
it makes sense.
But so, by 2011, the home was purchased by the town of Weymouth, and that's how it came to be. Wow.
So, you either of you or both of you investigated the location separately before? So
It was the
first time
for both of us. Yeah, I was invited to do this event by the lady who runs the property, and it was just kind of like we just were talking about it and we booked it, and then Rob saw it like a couple of months down the line on Facebook and was like, I want to do this event, and that's where the book came from, because we ended up just colliding and it ended up being the book. But yeah, that's how we got into this place. We'd never been into it before either. I never knew any of the history of it until we got there. I'm pretty sure you didn't look anything into it either.
No, what's interesting, Greg, is that I actually grew up like 2 towns away from it, and I had never heard of it.
That's great, actually, isn't it? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, the fact is that there's still places out there that we don't know about that are just like they're little hidden treasure troves, really, right?
Yeah, and it's a beautiful place. It's very, very elegant inside. Everything is kept up really well. And it was a really cool investigation. We were getting a lot before it even started. Rob couldn't even walk onto the 3rd floor because it was just so intense.
So intense. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a really, really cool night there.
So as far as the book is concerned, and the book is available, it's available now on Amazon to pre-order. Both, if I'm not mistaken, both a paperback and the Kindle version, right?
Yes.
So definitely go and please support, because listen, I went there today. I did do a link to my GhostBox site as an Amazon affiliate. They're not expensive. It's not expensive at all to get this book. So do so. But what is it? What is? I mean, you kind of gave Monique a little bit of a background to the book, but let's really get kind of into it. What people are going to get when they read this book.
Yeah, so this book started out as an event with 40 guests at it. So these 40 guests were split into 3 groups, and they were stationed with 3 separate paranormal investigation teams in this building. There was a team in the basement that was run by Thomas. There was our floor, which was the 2nd floor, and it was run by me, Rob, and my friend Alora. And then the 3rd floor was run by the Paraclauses, who were known as the Fetters out here as well. And we decided to take the 2nd floor because that was just where we had felt the biggest connection. But each group of, the 40 divided by 3 was going to rotate through each floor throughout the night. And the teams were going to remain right where they were. So we were staying on our floor the whole night. And for every single part of that night, except for the final group, we had a direct connection with 2 ghosts. And the whole book is literally about this connection and what came from it. And one of the connections was a little boy who was really, really kind of just in love with like this heat sensor I had, and just standing right on the other side of it. The thing did not stop lighting up blue the whole time.
Wow. So do you know where this little boy came from? Is he from property, or is he did your energies bring this child to you all, or what do you think?
Do you want to answer that?
Well, let me just say, I'd like somebody to answer it. How about we would just go with that route? No.
So we will tell you that he did not live on the property, but he died on the property.
Okay.
And
that becomes more clear in the book, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. It really does. And so so as I mentioned, sometimes in some of my other books about ghosts and spirits, sometimes when people die suddenly, they'll awaken as energy with their memories and their personality and the knowledge of the life they lived. And they'll be confused because it was a sudden death. And it's like blacking out and then waking up and realizing you're dead. And sometimes it takes a while. And for those that it linger too long trying to figure it out, their energy level drains. It goes down just like a battery. And when it goes down to a certain point, they get stuck. They can't open that doorway to the other side. And that is what we believe happened to this little boy who died on the property. Likely outside on the property. So he was stuck, and ghosts will always go to the structure closest to where they were before they passed. And that's why he came into the mansion.
Okay. All right. Do you know, do you have any idea? Well, you probably do know, and maybe you don't want to say how many years he had been there before you both had had the pleasure of meeting him.
I don't know. Do you know the answer to that? We have estimates, obviously, but
Sure.
Yeah, I think it was probably within the last 120 years.
Sure.
Based on the fact that the mansion was built in 1903, so it had to be sometime within that time frame. But we can't pinpoint an exact year because he didn't give us one. Although I will tell you that with the technology that Monique was using, which Monique will have to explain because I'm not a tech guy. I just use my head. This little boy was so strong that he came through and said, "Hi, Monique," and that's what came out of the technology. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Monique.
Yeah, we were using the Phasma Box program, which I like because it cuts out a lot of all the background noise. And yeah, when we were connected to this little boy, we got multiple things. Hi, Monique was one of the strongest things we got, though. I'm pretty sure at one point we got Mommy, and that could kind of explain maybe why he was coming towards me. And then, yeah, that was just such a clear device that night. And we ended up getting other stuff from the other ghosts that we were connected to as well that night, which was a little bit more on the scarier side.
Yeah, he was chilling.
Did it turn a little dark over there?
They were there at the same time.
Yeah. Did was it something that was on property that was that way, or none of the guests brought that with them, did they?
No. All of the entities that we encountered were ones that were there. Although I will say that the third ghost that we encountered never lived there. He came attached to a piece of furniture that scared the bejesus out of people that were on the tour on the paranormal investigation because he did something weird with a mirror.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's incredible stuff. I mean, that is, and so basically the entire time you're doing this event has been nonstop spirit communication.
Yeah. The whole time until the final group, and then things changed a little bit. But that's when we really started to play with the mirror a little bit more and got a little bit more out of this mirror.
Mirror, not portal, not
you never know, but something I learned I
do, but
something I learned I could do in the past year is scry through mirrors.
Yeah.
And so my husband ended up buying me one for Christmas that was incredible, and I got to play with it a couple of times, but I scried in this mirror that night, and then every guest got to learn what that meant after.
Can you explain what that is for folks? Because this was actually the first experience that I've had heard of when I was on an investigation. So it was fascinating to me.
Yeah. So when I scribe, the way I describe it, I don't know if this is technically the way that it would be described by a book or anything. So I'm not taking any credit from anywhere. But when I scry, it is a way of shutting down my brain. I think part of the reason my mediumship doesn't work as strong is because my brain is always so busy. So when you scry into a mirror, you're trying to look into it, but you kind of rest your brain and you look and you see what you see. I did an investigation for Dark Echoes, and it was actually on Amazon. And I was scrying in a mirror, and while I was staring into this mirror, you kind of look through it, and then you can kind of see everything around you. And I was looking through this mirror, and I saw a topless woman that had strangulation marks on her neck.
Wow.
And I was kind of like, what is this? And I'm like, I kept telling the people filming the show, I'm like, don't put this on the show because people are going to laugh at me. And I had no way to prove this. And then the next day I found out that there was a brothel.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it definitely could have been what I saw, or, my imagination took the best of me, but I'd like to think it was from the brothel.
and I would assume, and I mean, I think a lot of people who, we're in a state of like talking about what gifts do we have and stuff. And there's that thin line, right, between putting yourself out there and being like, I saw it, I believe it, versus that's still that little bit of like, it could be just my imagination. I mean, that's how do you How do you deal with that, Monique? Because I think about it for myself. What are your thoughts on that? Because I mean, I would assume at some point you're gonna have to be like, nope, this is what I saw. This is what I am.
I think that's probably why I don't call myself a medium right now, because I doubt so much of it. And I think once I stop actually doubting it is the moment where that aha light bulb is going to come. And I hear that from a lot of other sensitives. And a lot of the time, a lot of my confirmations come from other sensitives like Rob and people I've done events with that will confirm things that I'm seeing or hearing. And that feels good in the moment. But when I'm alone, you know, I never trust anything.
Well, and so Rob, did you have a situation like that when you started off of just being like, is this just my overactive imagination, or, you know, that you make that change to being like, nope, this is definitely what I'm seeing?
Yeah, sure. I doubted myself all the time. And the way that I tried to to work through that and figure it out was I went to mansions, historic mansions that were local to me when I lived in Maryland. And I would go in and I would see who I could sense. And then I would talk to the house historian. And oddly enough, they would confirm the type of person that I encountered that lived there. And the very first encounter was a little girl that lived and died in the Bel Air Mansion in Maryland. And when they told me that her tombstone was in the backyard in the family cemetery, that just freaked me out. So that was a confirmation.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. Monique, you use the equipment. I use the equipment. Do you find that equipment validates a lot what comes to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Equipment is one of my best friends. I say I can't be a psychic without equipment for sure. But I use tripwire. I use radios. We have so many yes or no devices. I'm sure you have a bunch of stuff too. I feel like we all have an arsenal of equipment.
I like using, I mean, not that this is turned into the Greg interview, but I do have to say, because I find it very interesting what you're saying there, that, you know, when I started off doing this, I liked the equipment because I liked equipment. Now I like the equipment because I like the idea of being able to, either for myself or my medium friends, to be able to, like you, validate what's happening. And, you know, because they like it too, Rob. I mean, you must love that when you get something that you're thinking and you either see something with that on there, or you're hearing it through a spirit box or something like that.
Yeah, to me, that's really the best kind of confirmation. Like there was an investigation I went on, and the tech team went in the week before, and they went in with infrared cameras. And I went in the second team, just the mediums, and I sketched this guy out. And it turns out they sent me the infrared picture afterward, and it matched the sketch that I did. This was the Steelworkers Ghost in my Inspired Ghost Tracking book. And that blew my mind. But it was also very comforting to me that, here's proof that what I'm getting is actually what's happening.
Absolutely. No, that's fantastic. Let's go ahead, take our next break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about the book, more about our paranormal conversations here. Also, how you can see Monique and Rob at a signing coming up. A lot more to get to. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information. Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef But I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey, bacon, avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com. What you wear is important. It should be fun, creative, and expressive of your own personality. At Grady Gear Company, we believe that clothing is more than just fabric and threads. It's a form of self-expression and a way to stand out from the crowd. Grady Gear is more than just a clothing brand. We're a community. We're here to inspire and motivate you to embrace your true self. We are a locally owned small business who do custom clothing orders too. Find us at GradyGearCompany.com. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
And join us tomorrow on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun. We're going to be talking to experiencer, podcaster, and author Morgan Knudsen. We're going to be talking about her own experiences with running into literally seeing Dogman on a number of occasions, and we're going to talk about those experiences with her. It's going to be an incredible conversation. Also on Wednesday, we're going to have the return of Psychic Medium Refined Divine for one-question readings. We hope that you will join us for that. And at some other events that I'd like to remind everybody about, Wednesday night, come out to Billy's in Anoka for Ghost Stories and Beyond. Char Savoy and myself are going to be there to share our experiences, but we want to hear yours too. Come on out, share your spirit, your ghost experiences, your ghost stories, whatever is on your mind. Plus, even most importantly, burgers are half price over at Billy's, and the booze is kind of good too, if you don't mind me saying so. Then this Saturday and Sunday, come out to see me at the Charvinity Psychic and Healing Fair at the Doubletree by Hilton, Minneapolis Airport. I'm going to have a table set up there, so come by and say hi. Plus, I'm going to be speaking at 3 p.m. on Saturday with my panel called Careful About What You Wish For. Be aware of when you're setting your intentions. I'm going to be talking about setting your intentions and careful for what you ask for, because you're going to get them and you got to be ready for that. So get more information on the fair, plus all the vendors who are going to be there. Go to charvinityfairs.com, and I hope to see you out there. Now we return to our conversation with Monique and Rob. And before we get into anything else, I know we want to talk a little bit more about the book. I do want to say I got a comment from Cynthia, and Cynthia says, interesting guest tonight. Got to love the Queens. Also, like the journal and sketching idea during an investigation. I tried sketching at the Anderson House, which is in Wabasha, Minnesota. It's a very active location, and came up with a small dog, which I sensed was a Cocker Spaniel. There was a picture of the uncle and Cocker Spaniel, I'm assuming in the hotel. Fun when you get your first try at a place. Now, yeah, I mean, that must be something. And Rob, I don't know, after the 45 years that we've known each other, I guess I never really got that you were a sketcher. I don't think we've ever really talked about it, have we?
No, I don't think that we have. So I only sketch ghosts out when they really make their full appearance visible to me in my mind. Mm-hmm. So the Case Files of Inspired Ghost Tracking book has, I think, probably about 8 or 9 sketches, and the ones that I do from the On Vacation series, they have sketches.
I think we talked about Ireland, actually. Now, come to think of it, when we talked about the Ireland book, I think we talked about we looked at some of those, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. See, learn something new every day. Now, you wanted to talk a little bit about the third floor. And this is before even getting into the investigation. What happened? And this is over at Emery Estates. What happened there?
So, Monique, I'm going to let you talk about it, because you took me up there before we were even opening the doors to the public. And we went together, and it was crazy.
Yeah. I went up there with the tour guide before Rob got there, and immediately going up there, sat down. It was very, very headachy, and I felt like a very, very evil old lady was up there, and she was just mean. And
Wow.
then when I went back downstairs after that, and that's when Rob arrived. And then I'm like, we're going to go on a tour. And before we even hit the threshold of the third floor, Rob's like, nope, not even going over there, not crossing. He was like, I'm not having it. I'm not going down that hallway. And the house has Amityville eyes.
Oh, that makes things a lot better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Even Amityville no longer has Amityville eyes. They got rid of that a long time ago. They're like, no, thank you.
And they're on the third floor.
On the third floor. What do you do in situations when you're running an event, and do you go into places like that are really heavy, really possibly dark, and you're like, how do we bring Joe Public up into these locations? Is that a concern at all?
No, we send them up there by themselves.
Blindfolded?
No, it is a concern, but we teach our guests how to be safe before the event starts, how to not take anything with them. And we're obviously watching their back spiritually too. We didn't even stay on that floor. We gave it to the paraclauses and they handle it.
I prefer your first answer. That's how I would do it. It's like, hey, you want to do this?
Yeah.
The crucifix. No, and here's the thing too. It's like we did an event over at a Masonic lodge over in Minnesota in Rush City. And we do the same thing. We're very diligent about making sure people are safe. There was something there that night. People are dropping like flies. It was. I mean, it might have had to do with something when we actually brought forth what we believed was Spirit of George Washington, because there was a back room full of nothing but George Washington portraits. And I asked before we did this, is it okay if I do this? And we got yes, did it. And then we had out of about 40 people, we had about 6 or 7 that were down for the night. I mean, that's kind of it's not our responsibility. We want people to be safe. It is our responsibility that they don't fall downstairs and stuff, but we're not it's hard for us to monitor those situations at the same time, I think, where you want people to be safe, but at the same time, you never know when you go into these locations what you're going to get, right?
Yeah.
No.
Well, one thing that's interesting about this investigation, Greg, is that there were 3 teams, and we had to go where we were most comfortable, where we thought the energy was actually something that we could work with. So that's why Monique and I and Alora took the second floor, and then another team took the third floor, and then someone took the basement. And I'm forever grateful, because that third floor, just like I said, it kind of freaked me out. There were, I kept sensing that there were residual energy of kids that were hiding. Like, if a parent has an argument in the house and you're a kid, you're gonna go hide in your room. But
sure.
And that's one of the things that I felt in there. But yeah, looking down this corridor, as soon as we get up to the top of the stairs, I just looked down that corridor and I said, I'm not going there.
You just know. Yeah, absolutely. The book we're talking about is Haunting of Emery Estate. It's available for pre-order on Amazon. It's published on January 1st, if I'm not mistaken, right? 2025. Yes. Get your book now, because it's going to be a great book, and also you want to be able to support our authors and our friends. Now, if I can get my mouse to work here, there is going to be coming up here, and I don't know what happened to my graphic. I think I moved it up here. We talked about you're doing a book signing on January 11th, and that is at the Hunt Memorial Building in New Hampshire. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, this is a place that one of my clients manages, and we were trying to find like a spooky, fun location to do this at. And she talks about the ghosts in here playing with the elevator and doing some crazy stuff. And she's always wanted me to come in there and try and communicate with them. So I'm like, what a better place to have our book signing party. And she offered it up to us. And after the party, we decided to add on a mini investigation that we're selling tickets for. So we're going to be the first group to really investigate the building too.
It looks like an amazing building. Those pictures, they have some energy coming off of them. I think you're gonna have a good time there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. And here's the thing too. $50 to investigate a location that no one's been in.
Yeah,
that's a great price. That's a really good price.
Yeah, the tickets are actually more than half sold out already.
I don't doubt it. It's pretty incredible. So to get tickets, you can go to MoniqueToosoon.com. Am I correct there?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty awesome. If trust me, if I was anywhere near you all, you'd be seeing a lot more of me. That's for sure.
And we would love that,
man. Well, remember, Rob, at one point didn't we talk about doing like a tombstone thing or something after you? Because we both had been down there and we both had fallen in love with just Tombstone and the Birdcage and that stuff. Now you both you alluded, and I don't expect you to say anything, but you're alluded to that there's more to come beyond this book. More, I don't know if with the two of you together or separately. I mean, Rob writes like 4 books a day, so we know that.
I do one a year. I try to do one a year. And so, yeah, so this book was such an amazing experience for me. Having written on my own for so long, just to work with a professional like Monique, who number one knows all the equipment, things that I have no idea about. Number two, how to conduct a paranormal investigation. Truly a professional. Number three, can lead the public through an investigation and organize all of this. Not to mention all the promotions that Monique does and everything else on the side. This was such an amazing experience to me, and I am so grateful to have been asked to come in and do this together. It was a learning experience for me, and I'm totally in awe of everything Monique does. So yeah, we're going to do another one.
That's pretty incredible. Yeah, that sounds great. Hopefully, Monique, you feel the same way. I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but nope,
really.
Not one bit. Nope, sorry.
No, absolutely.
Rob, you had to find out sometime. Let it be on the air in front of thousands of people.
I would have never written a book if it wasn't for you. That was never anything on my bucket list or anywhere near my bucket list. I hate writing, text messages as it is, I never thought I would write a book. So, and now that I have, I'm like, where are we going to do the next one,
But that's just it. And that's just amazing that that's where you're at now, from going from, I don't even like to write text messages to, hey, I'm writing books now. Look at me. I mean, is there what I really like about this too, and we kind of alluded to it in the last segment, was the idea of like, this isn't, I mean, good for all the places that we know and heard of 1,000 times. I mean, because of those places, I think a lot of us have that passion for doing this, but it's nice to hear about places personally for myself that I've not heard of before. And that, people that I know and I respect in the field, they're writing and they're talking about it. To me, that's something that suddenly is just like, now I'm interested, maybe not even going there because New Hampshire is a little far away from me, but at least to know about and read about and hear about the experiences. I mean, I thank you both for that, because that's a great way for us to also be able to learn and be better investigators ourselves.
Sure. So one of the things that we didn't mention yet was the man in the gray suit. He is a pivotal character that came to us in this investigation, and he really revealed his chilling personality. And he was interacting with the young ghost, the boy, and that's really the crux of the scary part of this whole story. So it's written. So the book is written the way that it happened, the way that things unfolded,
like in real time, in chronological order. Yeah. In
chronological order, and how we prove things. And this man in the gray suit pulled a fast one on us at the end, and it was not a good thing, neither for us nor the little boy.
Oh boy!
So I'm going to leave that as a cliffhanger so that folks will order the book.
And
it's a great book.
It's easily digestible. Page count tells me that it gets to the crux of everything, which is fantastic. Once again, folks, please consider doing a pre-order on that one over at Amazon. Haunting of Emery Estate. That comes out January 1st, both in Kindle and paperback. And also you have this wonderful signing that's coming up on January 11th over at Hunt Memorial Building. You can get tickets at MoniqueToosoon.com. And we just have a couple seconds left here, about 30 seconds. Monique, how can people find you?
Everywhere. Everything I have is on MoniqueToosoon.com. All my social media is on there as well.
That's fantastic. And Rob, we go to robgutro.com and see what's going on over there, and pick up the weekly books and whatnot, right?
I do a weekly blog, though. I do write weekly, but it's a blog. So it's not...
I really appreciate you both being on. This was a lot of fun, and it sounds like an amazing book. So folks, please support our authors and check out the book over at Amazon.com. Monique Toosoon, Rob Gutro, thank you both very much for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope to have you both on soon. Okay. All righty. Well, you didn't really answer, so I assume you don't want
Yes.
Just kidding. Everyone, have a good night. We'll be back tomorrow with Morgan Knutson and Dogman. Have a good night.